The Louisiana Purchase was one of the most important additions of land in American history, doubling the size of the United States and paving the way for westward expansion. In 1803, the United States bought this huge area of land from France, and it changed the country forever. Let's explore how the Louisiana Purchase happened and why it still matters today. In the early 1800s, the United States was a young country, much smaller than it is today. Most of its people lived along the East Coast. To the west lay wide open lands, mostly unexplored by the new nation. These lands were rich in resources and home to many Native American tribes. At the time, this area, known as the Louisiana Territory, was controlled by France, and access to it was very important to the United States. The Louisiana Territory had originally been claimed by France, but they lost it to Spain in 1762, after the French and Indian War. In 1800, Napoleon Bonaparte made a treaty with Spain that returned control of the area to France, because he had big dreams of building a French empire in North America. President Thomas Jefferson worried that French control of New Orleans would lead to problems for American trade. The Mississippi River was the main route for farmers and traders to ship goods down to New Orleans and then out to the rest of the world. Whoever controlled New Orleans controlled access to the entire Mississippi River. In an attempt to make sure they would always have access to the port, Jefferson sent two diplomats, James Monroe and Robert Livingston, to France to try to buy New Orleans. Fortunately, back in Europe, Napoleon was having troubles of his own. He was fighting multiple, expensive wars, which made it hard to focus on his plans for Louisiana. When the American diplomats arrived in France, they got an unexpected offer. Instead of just selling New Orleans, Napoleon offered to sell the entire Louisiana Territory. Monroe and Livingston had been given a budget of $10 million to buy New Orleans and the land around it. When France offered the whole territory for $15 million, they quickly agreed to the deal. The agreement was signed on April 30, 1803, adding 828,000 square miles to the United States. The Louisiana Territory was enormous. It stretched from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains and from the Gulf of Mexico to Canada. Today, this area includes all or part of 15 different states, including Louisiana, Missouri, Nebraska, and Montana. Now that it owned the entire Mississippi River and the Port of New Orleans, the United States had permanent control of important trade routes for its growing economy, plus a lot of new land to expand into. Of course, at the time, no one was sure exactly how big the Louisiana Territory was. Most of the land there had never been mapped, explored, or measured. Neither France nor Spain had clearly defined its western boundary when the territory was in their control. And as a result, it didn't have a clear western boundary when the United States bought it. Thomas Jefferson argued that by purchasing the Mississippi River, the United States also gained control of any smaller rivers and streams that drained into it, as well as the yet unknown source of the river. After the purchase, he sent teams of explorers, including Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, on expeditions to map those rivers and the land around them. The results of these expeditions were later used to negotiate the Louisiana Territory's specific boundaries. The explorers found that the land was rich in natural resources like fertile soil for farming, forests, and wildlife. It was a perfect place for new settlers to build farms and communities. Or it would be, except the lands were already home to Native American tribes. Many Native Americans were forced off their land as American settlers moved west into the Louisiana Territory. Adding new land also brought up the question of whether slavery would be allowed, and where. This caused disagreements between northern and southern states, and played a role in what eventually became the Civil War many years later. In the end, the Louisiana Purchase is recognized as a turning point for the United States. By doubling the size of the nation, it gave the young country room to grow and explore, setting the stage for it to become a major world power. It also led to years of conflict and consequences that still affect the country today.